back on our regular video release schedule here with Salt and Pepper Pork Chops from The Walks of Life. This book is a good book for Chinese American cuisine, so food that's served on the west coast of the United States from Chinese American immigrants, not necessarily food that's made in China, but it is still a very good book with some really delicious recipes. These Salt and Pepper Pork Chops are crispy, they're twice fried, and they have a lot of those great Asian flavors in them that makes them very distinct from like a southern fried pork chop. So we're going to go ahead and get started by marinating the pork. So we're going to go ahead and put in some Shaoxing wine and some water. And this is salt and sugar. And this is sort of the spice seasoning, which is white pepper, 5 spice powder, and good old MSG. So we're definitely entering flavor country, right? And then the last thing to go in the marinade is a little bit of toasted sesame oil. Go ahead and mix that up. It already smells like, just looks like a Chinese restaurant in San Francisco. It smells delicious. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and coat our pork chops in this marinade, and then we're just going to let this rest in the marinade for about at least an hour, if not a couple hours. While the pork chops are marinating, we're going to make a seasoned salt that we're going to use at a couple points in this recipe. So put a full tablespoon of sea salt in there. And now we're going to put 1/8 of a teaspoon of sugar and 3/4 of a teaspoon of white pepper. And just mix that all together, and that'll be the seasoned salt that we use a couple of different points in this recipe. To make the batter that we're going to dredge the pork chops in, first we're going to put in 1/3 of a cup of cornstarch, as well as 1/3 of a cup of water. Now we're going to put in a neutral oil. In this case, I'm just using canola oil. And a tablespoon of all-purpose flour. And now we're going to put in about 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And the last thing is we're going to put 1 1/4 teaspoons of our seasoned salt mix in with the batter as well. And then you're just going to whisk all of the ingredients together until the liquid becomes uniform and everything is fully incorporated, and that's what we're going to dredge our pork chops in. I've heated up our frying oil on the stove to about 250 degrees. You want it to sizzle when you put garlic in as a test. So I've got some fresh chopped garlic that we're going to crisp up first. And so we'll go ahead and put that in there. You can see that nice sizzle that starts. And we're going to fry that up till it gets crisp before we put our pork in. The garlic is turning golden, and now you just want to use a spider ladle or some other utensil, slotted utensil, to scoop it out and just set it on some paper towels. You don't want it to get any darker than this. It's going to crisp up as the water gets absorbed and evaporated from the garlic. So this is the point at which you want to take it out. So I've decided to move over to my tabletop deep fat fryer. If you don't have one of these and you like to do a lot of frying of things, I recommend getting one. They don't take up a lot of space, and they allow you to get a better fry on your food than pan frying using just a deep vat of oil, because you can control the temperature better, and these baskets and stuff make it a little easier. So we've got our batter here, and I've got one of the pork chops, and we're just going to coat that pork chop entirely as much as we can here. Really get that sort of soaked in and get the batter to stick as much as we can to this chop. That looks pretty good. And now we're just going to drop it in. The pork chops have been fried to a golden brown, and now we're going to let them rest outside of the oil for a few minutes. And this is going to let them reabsorb their juices and really let that meat cook all the way through. And then we're going to dip them in for a second fry. All right, the chops are ready to drop for another 2 minutes. All right. You can see how really crispy brown and golden these have gotten. So I'm going to transfer these over to this rack I have right here to let the oil drain off of them and to let them rest and cool down a little bit while we move on to the garnish. So we've got a wok that I've heated up to high until it starts to smoke, which is what you want. And now we're going to turn that down to medium-low. And with it on medium-low, we're going to put in these sliced Asian chili peppers. And we're just going to saute these for just a second to get them slightly cooked. Now I've turned off the heat entirely, and we're going to put in our cut up shallots, as well as our fried garlic from earlier that we've crisped up, and the rest of the remainder of the seasoned salt we made earlier. And then we're just going to toss all that around to get that nice and mixed up and get these. You don't want this cooked for very long. You just want these vegetables to be slightly kissed with heat and get really mixed in with that seasoned salt. I've plated up the pork chops, and now we're just going to get a little bit of that shallot, garlic, pepper mixture and just kind of sprinkle that across the top here. And these garnishes may seem like, you know, whatever. But honestly, these are the things that kind of elevate home cooking to where they just, instead of just being an okay dinner, they end up being a really good dinner that you remember and that you want to make again. So for not a lot of extra effort, you can add touches like this, and it really makes things better, in my opinion. So, all right, this is our dish. This is really good. I think you'll, especially if you're not used to eating a lot of, you know, actual Chinese restaurants where they're making plated meals, you know, not like a Chinese buffet or something like that. You'll really enjoy this, and it'll really introduce you to a lot of spices and flavor combinations that are really good, but that are not, maybe something a little bit outside of the normal. And I think your family will really enjoy it. If you enjoy my videos and my content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one.